In this video lesson, I'm going to make you an expert in inventory and bar management, and we're going to start right now. Hello, Dave Allred, the Real Barman here from barpatrol.net. Welcome. If this is your first time here and you want to learn how to become a master at running a better bar, start now by subscribing and hitting that little bell so you don't miss a thing, and so you and I can be closer, like Bonnie and Clyde, Jack and Diane, Jack and Jill, Jack and Coke. You get the point. Okay, so today I'm going to help you become an expert in bar inventory. And if you struggled with it up to this point, or you just want a better way to do it, or you're just starting out and you're like, how do I organize and count everything? How do I track my bartender pours? How do I do ordering? How do I just make it faster and easier? And how do I figure pour cost percentage? Don't worry. I got you. All right, we're going to cover it all. It's going to be amazing. All right, and maybe you know inventory is important, but maybe you don't know how important it is, and that's what I'm here to talk to you about. And I know you got a lot going on, right? Every day you come in, you're juggling balls. All right, so here's you. You're looking skinny, which is good, but you're just not too happy because every day you got to deal with all this stuff. All right, you're dealing with marketing. You got to market. You got to deal with staff. You got to hire them, you got to train them, you got to build in culture, you got to do finances and bookkeeping, you got job duties, you got checklists, and then you got inventory. And there's a lot of subcategories to these, but you got all this stuff going on every day. And it's like one of those cartoon characters who gets hit in the head with a frying pan, you got the little birds fluttering around, and it can just get overwhelming. But we're going to start with one thing. We're just going to do inventory right now because this is one of the biggest areas that can affect your profits right here. And today we're going to talk about two different aspects of taking inventory. All right, let me get rid of this. Let me erase this. I don't have my official dry erase board eraser, so I have to use a towel. I'm kind of low class like that. Okay, so here's the two aspects that we're going to look at. We're going to look at traditional inventory method, and this is basically counting your inventory, entering your invoices, and getting a pour cost percentage at the end of the month. And then we're going to look at variance, which is the big dog. All right, this is where you can affect real change in your business, find out what's missing behind the bar. All right, but let me tell you why I'm so psycho about this and why it's such a passion of mine. Okay, here's your inventory. Let's draw it out here. This is your liquor bottles. We'll put some X's on it like they do with moonshine so the kids stay out of it, but then they never do. Here's your wine and your beer. Okay, and there's your inventory. And when you look at it, it's just products on a shelf. Right? And it's not like you really spent money on it. It's like when you go to a casino and you turn in your money for chips, right? That's why they do it. So you don't feel like you're losing money. You're just playing a game with some plastic, clay circles or plastic chips. This is especially true if you're a manager and not the owner who actually spent money on those products. All right, you're not invested in it, but either way, there's a psychology here that the liquid in those bottles, now that they're in the building, are just expendable. All right, but that psychology is killing your business. This right here, this is money. Let me get my green pen. This equals money. That's your money right there. And yes, we are a hospitality industry, but we buy and sell products. That's what we do. Our food has to be good. Our drinks, our cocktail menu has to be great, but we buy and sell products. That's what we do. We're in an industry that at the end of the day, the average bar and restaurant makes a 3 to 6% profit before taxes. If you make $1 million in a year, the average money that you'll bring in off that is $30,000 to $60,000 off $1 million. That's it. And that's really sad, right? But my point is, you can't just be nonchalant and flippant about your inventory. All right, this is your livelihood. This is your money. There's gold in those bottles. All right, so instead of just ignoring it and not doing it or doing it half-assed, you have to make a new plan. You have to streamline it. All right, you have to make it faster, make it easier. This is why we have Bar Patrol app. Okay, be a manager, be an owner. For Christ's sake, be a leader. Okay, so here's what we're dealing with. So let's look at the retail industry versus the bar industry. And sorry, I know my camera gets out of focus a little bit sometimes, bear with it. But when I'm talking about retail, I'm talking about Nordstrom, Target, 7-Eleven, traditional buy and sell products. So let's pretend that we're Nordstrom, right? And we're selling shirts. Let me make a crappy looking shirt here. Yep, that's pretty crappy. So we're selling shirts, and let's say that on Monday, we do inventory and we count 50 shirts. All right. And then we come in the next Monday and we count shirts again. And there's 16. This is the following Monday. All right. That shows that 34 shirts moved out the door. This is usage. Okay. 34 shirts moved out. Now we go to the register. We run our sales data. Let me make a register. This is a horrible register. There's the screen. And we look at our register and we see that 32 were actually sold. That means they were rang in. So based on these counts, we know that we're minus 2 shirts. We lost 2 shirts. We lost however much money that costs us. Okay, that's simple. That's unit to unit. The retail has it simple. We can do the same thing in our industry with like bottled beer because we're not selling partial bottles of beer. We sell the entire bottle, and that's unit to unit counting. But when it comes to liquor and wine and draft beer, we're selling part of a bottle or a keg, and this is where it becomes tricky. With the retail industry, it's much more straightforward. All right, they have systems in place to ensure that theft doesn't happen, and also it's just not really in their culture. They have employee theft and they have shoplifting that goes on, but nothing to the extent that we deal with. In the bar industry, we're fighting an uphill battle. We're dealing with a culture that conforms to the belief that it's not only okay to give away drinks or pour heavy drinks, but it's expected. So the bar or restaurant owner or manager feels pressure to keep up with the bar down the street doing it, and at some point you just kind of give in, and I hear those dreadful words that make me want to claw my eyes out with a fork, and that's just the way it is, right? I know my bartenders give away a little, but that's just the way it is. And you know what? They're right. That is just the way it is in our industry. And since the retail industry is always counting in whole units, they don't have the same issues as us. Right? The sales clerk isn't selling a shirt and then like giving away an extra sleeve. And if you miss that analogy, that's like pouring heavy for us, right? They're not losing money because they poured heavy with an extra sleeve. It's a different culture, all right? And also the sales clerk isn't like, here, have a pair of shoes on the house. So how bad is it? Well, let's look at the difference. Here we have the retail industry. You have stuff you can buy. We got our dresses and we have handbags. This is the retail. The average loss or shrinkage in the retail business, 2%. All right? If we come over here to the bar business, let's get our wine and our beer and our liquor. We'll leave liquor out. The average losses in the bar industry, maybe you already know this, 25%. All right? Just in our industry alone, just in the U.S. alone, last year, the losses in the bar industry, $13 billion with a big fat B. Because you don't want to track your inventory. You want to work on marketing, you want to bring more money in, which is great, but you're letting money fly right out the door. And I know I'm sounding kind of scoldy right now. I don't want to be scoldy. I know that's not officially a word, but I think it's a great word. But this is what I get so passionate about. And years ago when I was managing bars, I first started managing bars, this concept made me stand up and I was like, holy cow, 25%, I couldn't believe it. So I became obsessed with finding a software to get some of that money back. All right, I want to see what my bartenders were doing. So I found this software called BarCop. It was like a glorified spreadsheet, but it helped with variance. All right, it was still manual. I had to still count everything. It was kind of tedious, but it helped count the variance. And I started to get a handle for what was going on behind the bar. So then I got more obsessed and I went out and found better software. So I started experimenting with all sorts of different softwares. It was sort of expensive for me, but I just had to know what was going on behind the bar. I want to find the best system out there. And so I did a 1-week inventory without letting the bartenders know. And sure enough, the variance was at 27%, right on cue with our industry. At that point, I was able to sit down with the bartenders individually, show them how much money we were losing. And at that point, we were able to set some standards. And once they knew they were being monitored, the variance dropped to like 5%. It was like magic. And that's how I started Bar Patrol back in 2012. I became an expert at inventory management and saving bars money. So I started helping dozens of bars around the San Francisco Bay Area. And I was scared to death to walk in and speak with owners and, convince them that they needed my help. So what I did is I offered a 1-week free trial in which I would take inventory for them. And once they saw how much money they were losing, they were sold. All right. They signed up immediately because I was saving them a ton of money. Plus, they didn't have to take inventory anymore. So the bar managers loved me because they were like, thank you so much. I don't have to count inventory anymore. And the owners were happy because I was using Bar Patrol to save them like $4,000 to $5,000 per month on average. All right. So at that time, I was doing inventory for about 10 bars per week. All right, that's all I had time for. And I was charging them $1,000 per month per bar. So I was making over 6 figures as a bar inventory auditor. I actually have a course on how to start your own bar auditor or bar consultant business for those of you who love the industry, but you're tired of the late nights, you're tired of the long hours, and you like the idea of helping bar owners succeed. So if that's something you're interested in, I'll put a link below this video. You can get a copy of the Bar Auditor's Handbook. It's free, gives you a step-by-step guide on how to start your own bar auditor consultant business. So you can go check that out if you want. Actually, I'll put a card up right here. There you go. Okay, so I didn't mean to ramble on, but that's my story, how I made bar inventory my niche. My niche? My niche? I've never been good with that word. My specialty, because I was able to see instant results, all right? One of the fastest ways to increase your bar profits. All right, so I became the go-to guy in the Bay Area to save you money. And I use Bar Patrol app as my weapon. All right, they also love me because I did ordering for them. All right, I'd count inventory, I'd run a purchase order, I'd hit send, and whoosh, it would just email it off to their vendors. All they had to do was receive the order and add it to their invoicing. Okay, enough of that. Let's get back to why we're here, which is the inventory process. So we'll start with how to determine cost percentage. That's the traditional inventory method. And if you're new to this, cost percentage is just basically your cost of goods sold, the product you buy, or your COGS, all right, cost of goods sold, in relation to your sales. So if you purchase, let's make it simple numbers. If you purchased $1,000 in beer, liquor, and wine, and you sell those for $5,000 retail to your customers, all right, your poor cost percentage is going to be 20%. It's just 1,000 divided by 5,000. All right, it's that simple. And your variance percentage, which I keep mentioning, is what's physically missing. This is the king daddy. This is what we really want to keep an eye at, where you can really increase your profit. So if your variance is 25%, it means you're missing 1/4 of your products. All right, does that make sense? Good. Let's forge ahead. Okay, so our job now is to count everything in the building, right? Our bottled beer, our draft beer, our wine, our liquor, and it's usually broken down by location, right? You have different locations. Here's your storage. Your walk-in, your shelves, your doghouse where you keep backup, and then your rails. Here's where your partial bottles are. Okay, and these 4 you should be able to fly through pretty quick because this is all unit to unit. These are unopened bottles, and with something like Bar Patrol app, all right, everything appears app to shelf, everything pops up in order, and you should be able to just enter the numbers, get through it pretty quick. When we get to the rails, now we're talking about partial bottles. So here's our liquor bottle again. Okay, and it's filled up to like right here, right? And now we need to either point count it or we need to weigh it, which is a lot more accurate. When we're talking about point counting or those little sliders you see on some apps that go up and down, this is about a 10 to 12% margin of error. Okay, because my points, what is that? 0.6, 0.7? My 0.7 is a lot different than your 0.7. So we're talking about thousands of dollars of inventory. This makes a huge difference on 10 to 12%. Or we use like the Bluetooth scale like we have here at Bar Patrol. This is a 2% margin of error. That makes a big difference. All right, our Bluetooth scale, it's black, it's sexy, it's elegant, it's sleek. What else can I say about it? It's awesome. And so once we have everything counted, we just need to add it all up, right? Add all these locations up together. If you're still doing this manually, good luck, get your calculator out. Bar Patrol does this for you. All the locations, it'll even separate the locations in the stock on hand report, but we need to add it all together, and this total amount here gives you your wholesale dollar amount. Okay, and that's wholesale, meaning that's the money you paid for it. That's your entire sitting inventory. And so in order to determine your cost percentage, we need to know 3 things. And here's the formula. Okay, let's say that we're doing inventory once per month. All right, so we need beginning inventory at the beginning of 1 month, plus invoices, or everything that came in during that time, during the month, all right, minus ending inventory. All right, so you take it on May 1st, and then you put all your invoices that come in, and then on June 1st, you count again. So it's beginning plus invoices minus ending divided by your total sales. And hopefully you have your products categorized by bottled beer, draft beer, wine, and liquor, because each of them should have their own cost percentage. And if you just lump them all together, you can't accurately assess by category how each of them are doing. You can't isolate the issues going on. Okay, so let's make a chart really quick. So there we go. Now we have everything in one place and we have it all broken down by category. And remember, the formula here is beginning plus invoices minus ending gives you your total, and then we're going to add the sales in, divide, and get our cost percentage. All right, so I have some numbers written down here. We'll keep them pretty simple. Let's say the beginning of the month, May 1st. All right, our beginning inventory, we have $24.50 in a bottled beer. Draft beer, we have $3,600. This is a wholesale amount, just so you're not confused. And if we add all that up, we get $15,125. Okay, and then during the month we buy, each of these. All right, so our inventory for the month for bottled beer is $2,300. This is how much we purchased. And if we add all that up, we get $12,900. All right, and then on June 1st we take inventory again, and here's what we get for a total of $15,750. Okay, then if we add all those totals up, here's what we get. We're going beginning plus inventory minus ending. All right, and these are the numbers we get. And that total amount is $12,275. What we're going to do now is we've looked up our sales for each of the categories for the month of May, and they go like this. It's like 50,500, right? Okay, now if we do the cost percentages, what we're going to do here is we're going to divide. All right, divide these totals into your sales, and here's the percentages we get. 27.3 for bottled beer. That's a little high. We're going to get 24.8. 29.5 for wine. You can never tell with wine. Wine's cost percentage can range from like 20% to 40%. All right, that seems like a little high in general, but and then for liquor, we have 22%. That's also a little high. The general industry standard is right around 17%. And then if we divide this by this to get the total, that's at 24.3%. So that's your overall cost percentage with all these grouped in together. But if you don't categorize these separately like we talked about, you're just gonna get one lump sum and you're not sure how they're doing individually. By the way, you can go to barpatrol.net and go to the resource page, and I have a bar industry standards cheat sheet you can download. It's free there, so you can go check that out if you want and check out how you're doing versus the industry standards on average. Okay, so there's your traditional poor cost percentage method. Of course, I did it a lot slower so you can get a visual what's going on. It's not going to be that slow. Use Bar Patrol app. You just count everything in all your locations. It adds it up together. You send it to your dashboard. It's already broken down by category. It's going to be a lot more accurate with the Bluetooth scale, and it's going to be a lot faster, like twice as fast. Now, cost percentage is a good indicator. We should still do it. It's basically measuring your gross profit margin, meaning if your cost percentage is 23%, you made 77% gross profit on your products. But in order to really get a handle on your inventory and your profits, you need to use variance percentage to track what's missing, because you can know what your poor cost percentage is, but you don't know what it should be. All right, you can compare it to industry standards, but that's just a general benchmark. All right, let me show you what I mean. The issue is it really depends on your product mix, meaning which products you're selling. All right, in other words, well liquor pours at about 5%. Grey Goose pours at about 18%. So if you wanted to lower your cost percentage, just sell a bunch of well liquor, right? Problem solved. All right, wrong. All right, Grey Goose, even though it's a higher percentage, earns more profits. Your profits go up. Remember, we're putting dollars in the bank, not percentages. All right, so if you sell a bunch of well liquor, your cost percentage goes down, so does your profit. If you sell a bunch of Don Julio 1942, which is like at 25%, your cost percentage goes up, but so do your profits. But none of this tells us what's physically missing. Only variance percentage can do that. So with Bar Patrol, we count everything on the app, and then we sync that information to the online dashboard, and then we're going to export your sales data from your POS for whatever time period. Could be a day, could be a week, could be a month. You export that, and it uploads instantly into Bar Patrol. All right, the whole process takes about 60 seconds. And then from the dashboard, you can go run a variance report so we can see how the bartenders are pouring, match up your inventory dates to your sales data, run the report. And now we can go to the results tab and break it down by every single brand to see how the bartenders are pouring. I'll show you one quick example. Jägermeister, 4 were rang in. They pour 1.5 ounces at this bar. They set that up in their recipe, so they should have poured 6 ounces. They poured 10 ounces. They lost 4 ounces here, and then we do loss at wholesale and loss at retail, so you can see how much money you're losing. We also do pour cost percentage. This is the ideal pour cost. This is the way it ended up, the way they poured. So they lost 12 points on pour cost percentage on Jägermeister. And then, of course, the variance percentage on this right-hand column here, the ones that are really high, you can come through here. And now you can sit down with your bartenders. You can show them how they're pouring. And when they know they're being monitored, your variance gets cut way down from an average of 25% down to 5%. Here's where you can make a real dent in your business. Okay, and then finally, just to finish up, a quick word on ordering. People will ask us, how much should I order? I don't know how much to have on hand. So what you need to do is go through every single brand that you carry and set a par level. Okay, and a good rule of thumb for that is to figure out your weekly usage for each brand and multiply it by 2. All right, for example, if you find out that you're going through 3 bottles of Grey Goose per week, your par will be 6. Okay, that way you have enough on hand, an extra week's worth, so you have good backup, but you don't have too much inventory on hand. All right, once those are set, you go run an order report. The software is going to tell you how much to order to get back above par. Let me give you a quick visual so you can see what that looks like. We're just going to go to ordering over here, hit order products, choose your inventory date, and then we're going to hit run purchase order. All right, now it's going to break it down by every single vendor, tell you exactly which brands you need to order, whether you need to order it by the case or the keg or the bottle, and you can adjust these up and down. All right, if you need more, you need less, and your total expenditures are down here. And when you're ready, you just hit place order. It's going to email it off to all your vendors. That's it. It's that simple. And then when your order comes in, you're going to get an invoice that looks like this. You just make sure everything's there, and then you hit approve invoice, and it's going to create an invoice for you. Super simple. It's awesome. Okay. Phew. I know that was a lot. That's your lesson on inventory. I know I got super passionate about it. It's my area of expertise. I'm like the inventory kid, all right? But I keep trying to express to bar owners how important it is that you track your inventory. We need to organize. You need to be able to do it faster. You need to be able to track your inventory, do ordering and invoicing. That's it. Make your life so much easier, and you're going to make a lot more money. Thanks for being here. I really do appreciate it. Visit us at barpatrol.net for more tips, tricks, and advice on running a better business. If you have any questions at all, you can email us at info@barpatrol.net. I'm going to see you next time. I'm out.